Wake up, Rip City. The Portland Trail Blazers have won 3 games in a row. Toumani Camara was hot last night, going 8 for 10 from 3. They beat the Philadelphia 76ers. Denny's back. Scoot Henderson is back. He played his second game last night, and man, it's exciting to be a Blazers fan. They fired on all cylinders last night, Jay Gliss, and they looked like the Blazers team that we saw in those first few games of the season, and we envisioned this team being. And it was fun to watch, Gliss. There was a couple moments last night when I jumped off the couch and ran around a little bit when Toumani kept hitting 3 after 3. So, man, we're having a good time after that losing streak. Things seem to be a little bit more back to normal. 2 games till the All-Star break. This is Wake Up, Rip City. I'm one of your hosts, Alex Moore. Joined alongside me, it's Jay Gliss. Today on the show, we'll recap that 76ers game, talk about the great shooting. We'll talk about the Blazers' return to form. They seem to be playing back to the ways of the beginning of the season, that up and down basketball, that full court pickup. Everything just seemed kind of to that stylistically the way that we've wanted to see the Blazers play. And of course, we'll look ahead to the last 2 games before the All-Star break. We'll talk about the return of Deni, the return of Scoot, and just good vibes. It's just good vibes here at Wake Up, Rip City. So, Gliss. Again, we're back to it's not hard again to find some positives as we wake up on the right side of the bed, which is what we do every time here at the Wake Up Rip City podcast. We start with positives because there's a lot of negativity in the world right now. So let's why not start a basketball podcast with a little bit of positivity, Gliss? How you feeling after the win last night?
Yeah, feeling good. It's been kind of crazy though if you kind of look at just how the season has gone. It's been like emotionally draining in some ways because they'll lose 5-6 straight and then they go on a winning streak and one guy comes back and then another guy goes out. So luckily, I mean, I think this is probably the most healthy they've been. It's unfortunate that Shaedon has that calf issue going on because if there's out of the guys that I really want to watch Scoot play with, I mean, Shaedon's definitely up there as one of those guys, just the way that, they could get out in the break together and all that kind of stuff. But, to have Scoot come back, that was a huge thing. We get Denny back last night. He looked good, kind of pacing himself. And then also on top of that, kind of outside of the way that they've been playing these last 3 games, the fact that we get to see Dame participate in All-Star Weekend was also some cool news. I'm sure he's dying to be on the court, competing in something, and it'll be cool to see him back in a Blazers uniform on that stage. So a lot of positive vibes this morning for sure.
Yeah, and that's so true. It was nice that interview he had with Brooke Olzendam last night was awesome, and then we haven't heard Dame talk, that much this season, obviously, and you kind of forget how good of an interview he is. He talks, he just gives so much information, and I just love hearing him kind of give his takes on things, and it's just so nice because a lot of NBA players, they're not being paid to give a good interview, right? And so a lot of times, a lot of them aren't the best quote. But Dame, man, he just knows how to. He's got the gift of gab, man. He just knows how to talk, and it's just exciting to hear him talk about competing again and getting back on the floor, and it's so fun. This has never happened before, right? An injured player participating in NBA All-Star Weekend. This is just bizarre. And at first I was a little like, oh God, is this really worth the risk? Even though it's just a shooting thing, I was just like, is it worth it? But then you see him warming up on the court before the game, and he's doing the step backs, and everything. It's like, okay, he's good. I mean, they've been so cautious with him, and you see a guy like Jason Tatum, of course, who's planning on, it seems like, returning this season. So to see Dame's obviously a lot older. I think had a different surgery than Jason Tatum did. But, man, super exciting. But that 76ers game, man, Toumani Camara, he went 8 for 10 from 3, Gliss? And, I mean, I just have to give so much credit to the maturation of this guy. Like, To be the defender he is, I mean, he's picking up Tyrese Maxey, who's an NBA All-Star starter. Just Tyrese Maxey is this guy who can go for 50 in this league on any given night. And he goes for 30 last night, but I thought Toumani did a good job on him, made him work for it. And he's doing that on the defensive side of the ball. And then he's scoring 30 on the offensive side of the ball, hitting shot after shot. You know, in that first half, it was a kind of a back and forth game, obviously, and Toumani was really hitting some timely shots in that first half, and obviously had a great first half. And wow, I mean, just incredible to see what this guy's done and how he's improved as a player. This was a weak point for this guy coming into the league, right? I mean, he was a 55th pick in the draft, or he was in the 50s at least. I'm not sure exactly what pick he was, but for him to come in and to show that improvement as a shooter, I'm just hats off to him. I'm amazed at how much growth he's had. As a player this season, he's awesome. He's awesome. There's nothing else I can say about it. And if you want to just go have some fun, go look at who the Blazers traded for him, and that'll bring a smile to your face because it's definitely a steal. I think Yusuf Nurkic was involved in there, and a couple other players, and you get back Aiden and Toumani. Toumani was the win in that package. So, man, that's my positive, Gliss. It's definitely Toumani Camara.
Yeah, man. If he can shoot that way every night, they're gonna be really hard to beat because, as you said. How good of a defender he is, just what he brings. I mean, there's not many guys that you'd take over him as far as on the defensive end. So, yeah, if he's just taking his opportunities and he's shooting at a high percentage, then that takes the Blazers to a different level because we all know what they lack most is shooting. And obviously they traded for Veit, and I think that's going to pay off in the long term in terms of having a guy like that can stretch the floor. And we've seen, too, he can also make plays off the dribble. He seems kind of like a good instinct kind of guy, high basketball IQ. So, yeah, if you can have Toumani out there playing that kind of defense and shooting at a high percentage, then it makes the Blazers a lot better.
Yeah, Gliss, and I want to go over some more stats from this game. But before I do, I want to give a quick shout out to Portland Spicy Peanut Butter, our sponsor. Man, Gliss, I had some of this peanut butter the other day. I made a peanut sauce, and it was incredible. And it's just perfect for that, for that kind of savory, spicy kind of peanut sauce. So I love this stuff. It's local. It's amazing. It's hand-roasted, small batch peanut butter made with no added sugar or oil. It's Portland, man. This stuff represents Portland. It's great peanut butter. And you can use our code, WakeUpRipCity, for 15% off any website order. And you will also get free delivery to any Portland address. That means this stuff will come to your door, and you get 15% off of it if you just use our code. So just check that out. Link is in the description. And speaking of Toumani Camara last night, they have the Reaper edition, and Toumani Camara was Reaper hot last night from 3. So check it out. Check out our guys at Portland Spicy Peanut Butter. Gliss, Deni comes back from injury last night. 26 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. It was quietly so close to a
really
triple-double.
Yeah.
It was like, Toumani's going off, and Denny's just like his stat lines. I was like, what? He almost had a triple-double? It's just normal for him now, man. And I can't stress enough how crazy that is. And I know Blazer fans aren't taking that for granted, but the way this guy is playing after coming back from the back injury, and he looked so much better, thank goodness. But to come back after missing games and to have that kind of stat line and that kind of impact without doing it loudly, man, incredible. Do not take watching this guy for granted. He is young. He's playing incredible basketball right now. There were days watching the Blazers where you would dream to have a guy like this on the team who is a triple-double threat, who makes the team so much better, who moves the offense, who attacks the rim. And so please, please, Blazer fans, enjoy this guy. Do not take him for granted. He is incredible. He's playing amazing basketball, and the best is yet to come from Denny. So big shout out to him.
Yeah, and I think, if you go back to this latest, losing streak, I think, you can partly attribute that to the fact that they didn't have him on the court. They have a lot of other capable scorers. Jeremy Grant and Shaden was playing a lot of that stretch as well. But this guy just brings something completely different. I mean, he just kind of makes everything steady for the Blazers. And there's as good as some of the young talent on this roster is, there is not another guy that can go out there and get you 10 rebounds and fill up the assist column and put up a quiet, like you said, mid-20s every single night. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Getting him back, you can see the difference, and just their health in general. I mean, again, going back to what I said earlier, this is probably the most healthy they've been the entire season. In fact, I've almost kind of felt like in the 2 games that Scoot has played in, it's almost a little sad to think about, like, they're almost so deep now with guys that can handle the ball. When you have a vet like Drew Holiday and you have Denny, Blake Wesley back, it kind of changes kind of the role for a guy like Caleb Love, who we've enjoyed watching so much throughout the season. CD Sissoko as well. We saw that in that back-to-back, Caleb Love did get a lot of run to kind of fill in for all the guys that were sitting on that second night of the back-to-back. But I mean, at this point, it's like now they kind of went from having nothing in terms of ball handlers to a lot of guys that, not only can handle the ball and make plays, but, guys like Blake Wesley that are going to get after you defensively. It just, having Denny back and having Scoot back, it completely changes the whole dynamic of the team. And that team last night, like you said at the top of the show, I mean, it feels like the team that, on paper, that you can kind of see the vision coming to fruition now, because it's a completely different team with those guys out there healthy and the depth that they have.
Yeah, have you ever seen a rotation like this? It's like Drew starts his game, then Scoot comes in, and then Blake Wesley comes in. It's like a 3-point guard, like. It's like they each get these kind of different levels of minutes, and it's like kind of bizarre to watch, but I like it. Obviously, Scoot's on a minutes restriction still, so I think that plays part of it. And I think eventually, I think Blake Wesley deserves minutes, but there might come to a point where I think his minutes get even more scarce.
I agree.
When Scoot is coming more into his own and kind of returning to full game shape and ready to take on more minutes. Because I mean, I think we should touch on Scoot now. He's looked incredible, man. I've just been ecstatic to watch him. The vision he has on the court, combined with his athleticism, is just next level, and you can see it. And it's I think it's something that's hard to teach. He just has this skill where he can really dribble and get to any point on the court that he wants to. But beyond that, he just knows the right pass to make. And Lamar Hurd did a great job of breaking it down in his first game back against the Grizzlies, when he was just getting to a spot and he was making that pass right when the defender is turning their head. And it's just like he's just ahead of it. A lot of times on the court, you see it in the fast break offense, you see it in the half court offense, and it's just been so exciting to watch him. I'm just not even really worried about him scoring right now. I just love to watch him play make. But he is an effective scorer too. And so like all of that is just amazing. He did look a little lost, I think, in the first game defensively on rotations. I saw him, if you're just watching him on defense, he's like, he'll start to ball watch a little bit and he'll get lost and then have to go find his man and stuff like that. So I think on rotations, he still needs to get into it. But I think he's a very effective on-ball defender still. And man, it's just a shot of energy that this team really needs, and it's just been so exciting to watch. And it's like now the bench is coming in. It's like, oh, Scoot's coming in. This is exciting. And you said watching him with Shaden is going to be fun, and I'm that's super exciting. I'm loving watching him play with Denny. I think that's exciting. Having both of those guys on the court at the same time is going to be fun. Having them offset, playing on with different rotations is fun because now you have two effective ball handlers who can create, get to the rim, all this stuff. In two different lineups. There's a lot of variations that Tiago Splitter now has because all this depth is coming back, like you were alluding to. So. Yeah, it's exciting times, and Scoot has been awesome. When he had the dunk in his first game back, I was like, let's go, man. His ability to just palm the ball is just awesome. Like, Jordan had that thing too where he could palm the ball and it was like so effective. And Scoot is doing that and coming up on a dunk, man. It's just nice to see him and his athleticism and his vision. He's just so fun to watch when he's playing effectively.
And I'm big on like the eye test, just kind of the general feel of watching something, like just like how it actually, what the vibe of it is. And with him, what I'm seeing right now is, it looks like things have just kind of slowed down for him, and I think probably some of that is just from watching, from being a spectator. And Dame kind of talked about that in that interview that you brought up earlier, where he was talking about being able to watch this team and he can already see ways like how he can help the team best when he comes back next year. I think sometimes like having that perspective of just being on the sideline and he's watched this team the entire season, it looks like things are just like it almost looks like he's kind of coasting, like it's too easy. Like you said, he's just getting to his spots. He's using his athleticism, his aggressiveness, and he's just like, oh, this is like, I got all these guys that can make plays off of, when I pass them the ball. It just feels like everything is just kind of like mellowed out for him compared to early in his career when we saw him first come in. It felt at times like he was just kind of forcing things, trying to do too much. And right now, like, to have him come back at this time, like you said, it's a shot of energy, and to get Denny back healthy at the same time, it's pretty exciting for this stretch run to see what they can do. If they can stay healthy, I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this stretch run goes, because like having that many guys that can make plays and having guys like Jeremy Grant come off the bench that can score. Drew Holiday kind of, he can do anything you need him to do on any given night. So yeah, this is the most exciting. I mean, we've had lots of moments this season where we've been excited about where things are headed and just kind of the progress that is being made and how the growth is happening organically. But right now, I think it's probably the most exciting time because you're past the trade deadline. We know this is the roster they're going to have. Guys are starting to get healthy. They have the most depth they've had the entire season. And we're going into that stretch run of when teams, the teams that want to be playoff teams start to step up and play their best basketball. So I think it's going to be fun to watch them compete and to see how far they can move up in the Western Conference.
Yeah, and that All-Star break coming is a must needed break for them. I envision Shaden doesn't come back before the All-Star break. I don't really see why he would. I mean, you don't mess with calf stuff. It was listed on the injury report as just calf soreness, so that is at least a positive. Hopefully it just stays as calf soreness, and then we see him come back after the All-Star break is what I would assume. I don't think there's any reason to bring him back before, but you're absolutely right, Gliss. The depth is awesome. It's fantastic. Never a bad thing in the NBA, especially when your depth is all guys who are coming off the bench and making an impact on the game. So it was so fun to watch against Philadelphia last night. Just some more stats from last night, Gliss. Scoot finishes with 12 points, 6 assists. I think he only played 20 minutes. How many of those assists were lobs? Like 3, 4? It was like all lobs. It was like, oh man, it was the one to Toumani was awesome. He had one to Klingon. I mean, it was fun. That was great. Rob Williams, Gliss, 2 for 2 from 3. And I think they were back to back. What? This is a new thing that I'm into.
And he hit a 3 the other night also.
Yeah,
right.
I'm into this. I like it. I'm like, it's gotten to the point now where it's like, okay, if Rob Williams is in the corner open for 3, I'm like, I think this is going in, which is never a place that I would thought it would be. Klingon finishes with 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Just normal stuff for him last night, and I think he's moved up in the rebounds per game stat in the NBA. Last time I checked, he was number 2 in the league in rebounds per game, which is don't sleep on that either. That is incredible, and the guy's effect on the offensive glass is just amazing. No starter plays over 28 minutes last night, Gliss. I love that. I mean, that's incredible. 22 three-pointers made by the Blazers, 20 offensive rebounds from the Blazers, 36 assists. I mean, all stats that are like, if you're hitting those numbers in games, you're most likely going to be winning the game. Okay, Gliss, two games left till the All-Star break. The All-Star break's going to be fun for Blazers fans too. Both games are on the road. What are you looking for as they go into All-Star break?
I just want to see if they can, keep it going the way things are right now. Just kind of figuring out those rotations. I'm just going to go back and say depth again, since we were just talking about it. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the coaching staff kind of deals with the next couple weeks, and especially these next 2 games going into the All-Star break, just to kind of solidify what their rotations are going to be. Like you said, especially that point guard situation. I mean, it'll be interesting to watch if they kind of keep that, or if Blake Wesley if his minutes start to taper off. Just as Scoot gets more healthy, we see how effective, as you just noted, how effective he's been in the minutes that he's gotten. So that's mostly what I'm looking for, is just kind of how this team starts to adjust to actually being healthy. Because, we've only got a couple games of it, and that second one, I'm not really going to count that second game of that back-to-back, just because they had so many guys that were sitting, due to maintenance-related things, or, just that weren't going to play on the second night of a back-to-back. So I think, this road trip will kind of shine a little more light on how they're going to play this thing when they have a fully healthy roster. Obviously, if Shaden's not back before the All-Star break, he'll factor in at some point when he does come back. But I think that's going to be the most interesting part to me, because we will see Scoot's minutes go up for sure, as long as he remains healthy. So I think that's definitely something to watch, is just kind of how they decide to play this thing with all the depth that they have at this point.
And speaking of Scoot, or speaking of that depth as well, Sidi Sissoko, 49 games played. He's only allowed 50. He's pretty clearly a piece that the Blazers want to hang on to. He's getting minutes in all this depth that they have. It looks like there will be a move that's going to happen. I don't know, probably before the Minnesota game, I'm assuming.
Imminently?
I don't know if he gets to 50, then something has to happen, or it has to happen before he hits 50. I don't know the exact rules of it, but there's going to be something that happens. And Gliss, I think there's 2 options that I'm feeling right now. So I'm going to put you on the hot spot. You get to pick. I'll give you the 2. You get to pick which one you're doing. All right. 1, you release Ryan Rupert. 2, buy out for Matisse Thybulle. I think those are the only 2 you have to do. So which one are you doing?
And I agree with you. I think my gut tells me that Thybulle getting bought out is the more likely of the 2. I don't know why. That's just kind of my gut feeling. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's dealing with a lingering, health issue. I love Matisse. I think he's probably one of the. He's kind of that Robin Lopez type of guy. Like, he just seems like a good dude, like a fun guy to have around. But he hasn't been healthy, and as much as like I'm not like super pushy on Ryan Rupert. I like some of the stuff he does in the minutes that he gets at times. I don't think he's a super consistent NBA player. But I think that because he's been getting minutes and he's been contributing to the team, I feel like that's the less likely of the two options. I could be wrong. I wouldn't be surprised either, whatever way they go. But that's just kind of like my initial gut feeling is that the Thibault buyout is more likely.
I agree with you, Gliss. I think the Thibault buyout is more likely, but I disagree with it. I think it's time to move on from Ryan Rupert. I think there's been enough opportunity for him, and I actually have kind of liked his growth so far this year. I think his shooting has been a little bit more reliable in these games, but Thibault's a rotation player, and even if he's going to leave after his contract's over and things like that, I mean, Thibault can get minutes on this in a potential play-in game, in a potential playoff game. To me, you hang on to him. I don't know. You just lose him in a buyout. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that. I like Matisse Thybulle a lot too. I think I'm with you on that, Gliss.
Me too.
I remember in the bubble watching all of his vlogs and all and I was just like, this guy's awesome. And then just seeing his impact on the floor, it's like the guy's an automatic 2 steals, like just right away. And he creates possessions. He's such an effective defender. I like him. So I would be a little bit upset if the buyout happens. I get it. I understand it. And like you said, I will not be surprised if it happens because I think that is probably the way they're going to go. But I think the Ryan Rupert experiment is over with, and I'm ready to move on from him. So I don't really see the point of just continuing to hang on to him, especially with the depth that the team has currently, and especially because CD Sissoko is someone who's going to probably take Ryan Rupert's minutes. So it's like, I don't know, that just doesn't make sense to me. So I would lean towards moving on from Rupert, but we'll see what happens. I think a decision will be coming in the next couple days, so get ready to see where the Blazers go with that. And then Caleb Love, I think, has played less games, and now with the depth that they have,
I think it's like 44 maybe.
Yeah, there's no need for him to be active in games right now. So I think they'll probably just let him kind of go, and then maybe if the need comes for him to play in some games, then he will. But right now, I think that's probably where they're at with Caleb Love. All right, Gliss. Anything else that you wanna chat about before we log off here for our episode this week?
I don't think so. I will say for the record, I am on your side. Like if it were my choice, I would probably rather keep Matisse. I think if he can get healthy, even if it's just the last 5 games of the season to help you in a playoff situation, I do think he is a good enough defender where he can make a difference. And even if you're not planning to re-sign him, then that's just an expiring contract, money that comes off the books. Going into the off season gives them more flexibility and all that stuff. So that would be my personal choice. Something tells me that it's less likely that they hold on to him in this situation, given that he hasn't been healthy. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I guess the argument that you make too is at least Rupert's playing games. Matisse isn't playing any games, and he had the wrist injury, and then he re-injured his knee. So it's like, man, this guy can't catch a break. So who knows if he's even going to be ready to play at any point this season. I mean, we're at that point. I mean, last year he had the ankle injury that kept him out almost all year. It was just like, what's going on, So I mean, a player who's ready to play is better than a player who can't play at all. But of course, if both were healthy, I think the decision would be obvious for both of us. So I think that's where, kind of both sides come in. So, yeah. Well, this has been Wake Up Rip City. We'll be back with another episode this week. We'll break down the Blazers as they go into the All-Star break, and we'll get ready for that because it's gonna be a fun time for Blazers fans and a good break for this Blazers team, well deserved, and hopefully they can have some momentum going into the All-Star break. You got to hope for a split in these last 2 games, Gliss. I would assume a split would be nice. You're playing on the road in Minnesota, and then on the road against the Jazz, I think, Gliss. So you would hope that Minnesota game's probably going to be a tough one to win, but you would hope that they could beat the Jazz, who I think are in full tank mode. So they're starting early. So that would be the kind of the hope. If you can steal a win in Minnesota against Anthony Edwards and that crew, that would be great too. So, but that's what we're looking at before a week off. So. This has been the Wake Up Rip City podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Give us a comment, give us a like, give us a subscribe. That keeps us going. We love the community here, and we love talking with you. So any of those things is super helpful for us, and we really appreciate you guys watching and staying tuned in. All right, we'll see you next time.